Where do you sit on, because, when you look at Seattle right now, there's two thoughts. Well, we know, or at least we think we know, what Russell was thinking a year ago and what might he still be thinking in terms of an exit strategy. But are you of the mindset that the Pete Carroll era should absolutely continue no matter what? Where do you stand on everything with Seattle?
Well, I don't think anything is no matter what. I think everything has to be evaluated when the season is over by their front office and even ownership. And this is really Pete's first down year since he's been here. So I think with all the success that he's had here, he at least deserves a chance to have everything evaluated and see exactly where everything is and figure out where Russell is in his mindset as far as where he wants to go forward. So this team still has 4 games left to play. They've won 2 in a row. They feel like they can get on a little winning streak here and finish the season really strong. So they still have a chance to finish the season, maybe not get in the playoffs, but if they win every football game, who knows, they might have a chance. But I think at the end of the season, that's when everybody should figure out what they want to do going forward. Pete is 70 years old now. Let's see if he still wants to continue and start this thing all over again, or do they just want to make some tweaks and changes to the lineup and see if they can keep going forward with Russell Wilson. So there's a lot of questions to be answered once this season is over, but there's still a lot of season left to play.
I get it. There's a couple of games to go here, but they don't feel as if, even if they win a few and even if they got lucky, this is not a team that's built to win big, as they were for a long time. And by the way, there's no shame in eroding. I mean, it is what it is. The NFL, things happen. I think what's compounded their slide is they've made some bad trades. I mean, the Jamal, I know he's hurt, but the Jamal Adams trade where you give up multiple first-round picks, that's a problem. The offense, and he's not good in pass coverage. I know he's a thumper. I like Jamal, but I thought that was too much in the trade myself. And I'm a Jets fan, by the way. I think that the offensive line, he's been running for his life his entire career in Seattle, Russell Wilson. Like, they have so much to fix that I got to tell you, Warren, I think the prudent move is to trade Russell, to get back all of that first-round equity and more, find a new coach, a little younger, and start entirely over.
Well, I think everybody always wants to do something like that, but then who do you get in return for Russell Wilson? There's not a lot of Russell Wilsons walking around the streets out there, and everybody in this league is looking for a guy like Russell or Patrick Mahomes or somebody like that. There's nobody in this year's draft that's like that. So who do you replace? If you build your offensive line back up, if you do all these other things that you think they need done, if you don't have a quarterback, it doesn't matter how much other talent you have. So that's going to be the biggest question. Who's going to be your trigger man once you make all these changes?
Fair, but when Hasselbeck was there, he wasn't one of the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the NFL. He was good, but he wasn't a superstar. They had success.
He was a Pro Bowler, but tell me who you think they're going to bring in then. Tell me somebody.
Let's see. I mean, you're not going to like this, but bring in Teddy Bridgewater for a year, take your lumps, and then draft the kid the next year.
Who's the kid next year? And then you got to let him develop.
No, I know, but here's the thing, Warren. If you wait, right, and, let's say they I don't even know if reconcile is the right word, but let's say Russ is back next season, all right, and, they acquiesce and maybe they gave him more power or whatever, and he's temporarily placated. I'm coming back. I don't want to leave. I'm coming back. And you win 8 games next year. And then he's like, I want out. You kind of wasted it because no matter what they do, if I'm wrong, tell me. But no matter what they do this offseason, given the strength of the NFC, I don't think they could elevate themselves to a championship tier. So I'm of the mindset, strip down now, collect draft equity, take your lumps. I know it's going to be rough for a year. I get it. Or 2. And rebuild organically rather than trying to rebuild on the fly by giving up all these picks for a safety like they did. It just seems like their plan's all over the map. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I think that plan was because they thought with a 12-win team from last year, they just needed a couple of pieces, and they thought they could go the rest of the way with their team this year. It just hasn't worked out that way. Their running back, Chris Carson, has been hurt most of the season. if you don't have a running back in this system, you're not going to have the balance that you want, and the play-action pass doesn't work as well, and that's why Russell's been kind of ineffective early in the season. But, yeah, I think there's a lot of different ways you could go. It just depends on what they're going to do when they sit down at the end of the season. We could debate this all day long, but I know that's not all you want to talk about is the Seahawks.
It's not, but that's a big one. You played for them. You did games for them, so I definitely wanted to get your thoughts on it. That is Warren Moon. That's Warren's basically a nice way of saying let's hit something else. I got you. Hey, what is your thought? I did want to run this by you. I had no problem with what Coach Staley did last night because that's how he operates, and he didn't deviate from his conviction in terms of going for the touchdowns rather than the 3. The one that I could argue with is before the half, take the 3, get the 7-point lead, go into halftime with momentum, but they've got the players. I thought the down and distance was appropriate. Did you have an issue with the way Staley coached last night?
No, I really didn't, because that's the way he's coached since he's been there, and he's going to be aggressive, and he has a quarterback that he thinks can make those type of plays for him. You know, he hits the receiver for him in the back of the end zone. That should be a touchdown, and it's unfortunate he didn't hold on to the ball, and then he gets hurt on the same play. If those plays go the opposite way that everybody thinks, then he's a genius for doing that. But because they didn't work, now he's going to be second guessed, and that's just what happens when you go for it on fourth down and you don't make it. But yeah, that would be the only one I would kind of debate, the one right before the half, because you want to go into the halftime with some momentum, with a good feeling going in that you have the lead, and you also just scored right before the half. Other than that, I had no problems with the other ones.
So we're on the same page. That's Warren Moon, NFL Hall of Famer. Tiki.
I'm glad we're on the same page finally.
Listen, dude, if we're sitting here agreeing for 10 minutes, that's boring, bro. You know how it is. Maybe we'll disagree on this. I'm not so sure that we will.
That's my biggest problem. I like to be on the same page.
Oh, huh?
Yeah, the same page makes things happen in a way where you have winning football.
But see, winning football and interesting radio are two very different things.
Yeah, you got that right.
Hey, if you're the Raiders, how married are you to Derek Carr moving forward?
Well, it looks like they're going to start Marcus Mariota this weekend, so I don't think they're too married to him right now. I don't know if they're going to just put Marcus out there because they want to see what he's got left and maybe showcase him for trade bait, or if they really are thinking about making a change. It's really kind of up in the air right now, but it doesn't look like the Raiders are too committed to him if they're making that change right now with 4 games left to play in the season.
And by the way, there's Russell Wilson's replacement for 2 years, Derek Carr, and then you draft a kid. See, I brought you back to Seattle.
Yeah, well, there you go. There's a lot of possibilities, but there's a lot, like I said, not a lot of Russell Wilsons walking around out there.
I'm going to fight you on that. Who's the best team walking around right now?
Wow, this season has been so different because there's so many teams that are equal. There's so much parity in the league. But I still like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the NFC because they're getting healthy and Tom Brady's still playing at the top of his game. But there's still a couple other teams that are right there. And then I like the way Kansas City is playing. Kansas City and who's that's going to play tonight?
You were gonna have the Browns tomorrow. That got canceled. What's that? I'm sorry. The Patriots, obviously. You like the Patriots?
That's what I mean. The Patriots and Patriots and Kansas City right now are the two teams in the AFC that I'm looking at. So it could go either way down the stretch, but I like Tampa because of the strength of their lineup. They got everybody back from last year. These guys know how to win, and then they've got the ultimate player in Tom Brady to lead them.
You look at Mac Jones, right? I agree. The Patriots, I mean, they run, they defend. They're obviously as well coached as anybody maybe ever. Mac Jones does a lot right. Not a ton of splash throws, not a ton of, no off-platform plays, really. But if he was on an average team with average coaching, would he still shine? Maybe not the way he is, or would he be swallowed up like Zach Wilson has been, and Trevor Lawrence, and Justin Fields to a lesser extent? Like, the tape on Jones, what exactly do you see?
Well, when I saw him coming out of college, I thought he was the most pro-ready quarterback of all the guys in the draft just because of what his strength sets were. He gets the ball out of his hands quickly. He's a very smart and intelligent guy, dissects things very fast for a young guy, and he also, he's very accurate. So those things were going to fly well wherever he went. But if you go to a team that's a lot more developed, like the Patriots were, they made some great acquisitions in the offseason through free agency. They had some guys come back from who opted out last year, and then you have one of the best coaches in football. You're going into a really stable situation, and that's what's made the difference for him. Where some of those other guys that went higher, they went to bad football teams. So he's going to benefit from all of that, and that's what you see what's happening right now. But at some point down the stretch of the season and into the playoffs, Mac Jones is going to have to win a game with his arm, because people are going to game plan. They're going to try and take away the run, and they're going to put the game in his hands, and he's going to have to win it for them.
Guy could sling it back in the day. Warren, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to you. Appreciate you hopping on.